Yes, sir. So, hello and a very warm welcome all to the Pratiti 2023 second webinar of the series organized by Center of Excellence in Gaming and Simulation at Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, India. This webinar is on the topic Local Knowledge Extraction Games for Resilience. And resource person for the webinar is Dr. Yusuke Toyoda, Professor, Institute of Disaster Mitigation for Urban Cultural Heritage, Research and Development Institute of Regional Information, Japan. To start the session with a warm welcome, I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Upinder Dhar for the welcome address.
Once again, good afternoon from India. I'm very happy to welcome all of you to this next session of Pratiti. I'm happy to see Dr. Toyoda after ISAGA 2021. If I remember correctly, he was with us online during ISAGA 2021. Well, the topic great interest to all of us, and I'm sure that his session will enrich our knowledge and make us better off in understanding about the subject. I welcome all other friends on this platform, and I'm sure that all of you will be benefited, and all of us together will have fun for some time, at the same time learn from Dr. Toyoda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before starting the today's webinar, may I introduce our speaker. Mr. Yusuke Toyoda is Professor of the College of Policy Science, Ritsumeikan University. He is also a member of Institute of Disaster Mitigation for Urban Cultural Heritage and Research and Development Institute of Regional Information, both with Ritsumeikan University. He utilizes SNG for study and practice on community-based disaster management and disaster education. I once again welcome Mr. Yusuke Toyoda in the webinar, and now I hand over the session to our resource person, Mr. Yusuke. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind introduction. And also I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. And let me share my screen first. Okay, I hope you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. 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 And also to audience, thank you very much for coming. I am very glad to see you here online. As I was introduced, my name is Yusuke Toyoda from Ritsumeikan University. And today I will talk about local knowledge extraction games for resilience. I know that this webinar series is related to simulation and gaming, but I attended several times on this webinar as audience. I had a presentation one time, but other times I attended as an audience, and I found out this definition is broad, not such strict to simulation and gaming. So, and I'd like to today talk about games for local knowledge extraction related to resilience. I specialize in community-based disaster risk reduction and disaster education. So it is related to community-based, disaster management. First of all, let me talk briefly about background, because we have a variety of people here as audience. As you know, climate change is not coming, but it's already here. And also its impact is getting serious more than before. And yeah, we have many ways to treat with this issue, but one of them is that to treat local knowledge or respect local knowledge. In this case, local knowledge is a kind of locally situated knowledge, which are not validated. It could be validated by science, but sometimes or often it's not validated by science, but based on experience. We sometimes say indigenous knowledge or traditional knowledge. Local knowledge includes both, also more than that. That it's important. Science, it's scientific knowledge. It's not enough. So many researchers on disaster risk management try to integrate local knowledge and integrate it with scientific knowledge. By doing so, we can find more effective disaster risk reduction measures in this community. Or we can learn lessons from the community, apply what we a kind of reference to other cities. Because effect of climate change is devastating, not only in the community where they have a disaster before, also other areas before they didn't experience flood, for example. But recently, they started to suffer, but they have experience. So that in this case, they could learn from experience in other cities. And many researchers try to, extract local knowledge. For example, we have a mapping participatory making approach or filmmaking participatory approach. More typically, we have a focus group discussion. So these kinds of methods were implemented by many researchers and also by practitioners. But here, our concern is that, these tools, many tools are, developed, but it is hard to duplicate these kind of tools. For example, participatory map making, it is often they use GIS. Even though when they collect, they have a kind of analog map, but when analyzed or when they do, show the same map of, local knowledge, it is often that they use GIS technology. Or filmmaking, it is also very hard work. And also we have to have a technology or technique to edit film. And also participatory art, it is really, how can I say, depends on implication from art. And the focus discussion is very kind of typical way, and it's easier to implement. And our, interest is that we could have one more, method to extract local knowledge. And we focus on games or gamification in this case. Because if a gamification or for knowledge sharing or knowledge extraction was, implemented many places, especially in business field. But as far as we are concerned, there is no study to apply gamification and games to community-based disaster risk reduction field. So that we tried to apply and try to avoid its effectiveness. So gamification. Sorry, I did write definition of gamification. Gamification simply means that we apply game elements inside on game context. So usually we have lectures, we have some talk, but we can apply some games like competing, let students compete each other, get high score, or get some feedback for them motivated to work more with that. So there are several gamification mechanisms, such as competition. So not just in case asking knowledge they have, but we ask them to compete. How many knowledge they have? If they have more knowledge, they can get more points or could cooperate work together to get some more comprehensive knowledge. Could give feedback. We get knowledge from them. Okay, get really important knowledge. We give some, feedback or kind of feedback. For performance graph, it's related competition. We show achievement of your work. You share many, knowledge you provided. For example, that we show it in a graph or tables or challenge. This is the typical way of game. They will have some challenge. If they clear, they get satisfied and they are so happy. Or reward. If you give something, for example, if you can be the winner, you can receive something. Or status is similar. We give a champion status. So that these kinds of things are gamification mechanisms. But at the same time, they have negative feedback. Please imagine you join this kind of activities. if we have a really harsh competition, maybe some people get, really attractive to other participants because they want to be winner and they have no cooperation and they work, really aggressively. Well, if we give negative feedback, it also affects negatively to their motivation to share knowledge. And they feel that they don't have any confidence in that. So that we have positive and negative aspects. So we have to, design games should be, really properly for each situation. But, it is often used and tested, especially in business field. And gamification mechanisms to be carefully embedded into activities should be really effective. And it is often we incorporate this kind of mechanisms in the game style. So later I will explain about our games. And about knowledge sharing or knowledge extraction. From our viewpoint, we say knowledge, extraction, but from their viewpoint, participant viewpoint, it's a knowledge sharing. They share their knowledge. And also about this one, this is a framework of knowledge sharing research. They're listing up some factors which are very important, like environmental factors, like it is related to the, let's say, their cultures or team characteristics, diversity of participants, social network, and so on. And also motivational factors. It's related to, their trust among, participants. If they do not trust, they do not want to share their knowledge. And of course, individual characteristics is really important. If I am shy, I don't want to share my knowledge, even if I have confidence like that. So all of them are affecting to intention to knowledge sharing. And finally, knowledge sharing behavior is come out. And gamification is related to motivational factors. By gamification, we try to enhance their motivations. So here, I'd like to introduce two games, but I think because of time, maybe I mainly talk about the first game. And if I have enough time, I'd like to talk about the second game. So first game is local disaster knowledge extraction game, flood management in Thailand. So from this name, you can know what we want to do. And in this case, this is a study specific. So I'm sorry if you are not familiar with this topic, but first, I like to verify its effectiveness, gamification or effectiveness to extract local knowledge, so that it is a academic discussion here. But what we did is that we tried to identify the strengths of gamification of practical knowledge to enhance community resilience compared to the focus group discussion. Focus group discussion is one of the major ways to extract knowledge. So we compare between, and I'd like to talk briefly about the case of this. Okay. So here, we went to North Thailand. May of the Thailand is a flat country. Also in as well. It's not talking about so many natural hazard you are facing. In Thailand, especially that is national problem. We went to North Thailand and played the game and also focus on discussion in a community designated as one of the WHO safe communities. WHO is World Health Organization. So they were presented with these safe communities because the community-based disaster risk action activities are highly evaluated. There are suffered from flooding in 2006 and 2011. In 2011, they had a really big flood in Thailand at that time. Area was the starting point of the flood. Also in 2017, flooding was out to occur, but they prepared against because they expect that flood will occur. So from these viewpoints, we can see that this community is really good in terms of community-based disaster risk reduction. So we assume that they have they are rich in local knowledge. So we tested our methodology in this community. And okay, I'd like to talk about game first and talk about focus group discussion here. Please imagine you are the participants. We have three phases. First is before, second during, and third after the flood. So as I explained, they have experienced 2011 flood. So ask them to remember what they have done based on themselves. And we ask them to show what they did for 2011 flood. They have two ways to show the activities. First, they have 18 prepared activity cards. You can see here at the right-hand side. We prepared these cards, which are typical flood management activity in Thailand. But they are the typical activities. Of course, they are not enough to express their local activities in 2011, so that they can fill out blank cards for additional activities, whatever they want. And these cards are very important because they are out of these typical activities. And we asked them to put them on the map here. And after putting, they explained. And also when we have questions, we ask questions to them. So that this is a way how we did it. We have a map here, and they can select from these cards, and also they could write these kind of cards and put them on the map. And after that, each by each, they explained what they wrote, or we checked what they wrote. And of course, when we have a questions, we ask. And the important thing in this game is that later I'll explain detail, but we give kind of feedback from researchers in a true or false quiz style. So you can see here, the picture, this is me. So, okay, you explained. And if I have questions, I ask you questions and you answer. And if I understand well, I give you circle. But if I did not, I could give you cross. So this is the kind of quiz, this is style like a quiz style game here. So that from this, they could get some feedback. And also this is a kind of, let us explain, but challenge to us, because they explain and I made a judgment to their explanation. But here, what should be taken note is that we didn't intend to give cross from the beginning. And I didn't, of course, because we respect their knowledge. But anyway, we didn't tell them that. And after that, for every participant finished explanations, we went to the second phase. That is during the flood. So you can see that here. This is a flood inundation area. You can see the blue sheets here. It is just for let them remember situation in 2011 because it was more than 10 years ago. And we continue the same thing to the second and to the third phase. And here you can see that one more thing. You can see the table. This is a phase 1, 2, 3, and this is participant 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. So we wrote how many cards they provided to us. It means that how many local knowledge they provided to us. By doing so, we can compare, okay, this person gave this 10, but this person gave only 6, this. By doing so, we can, the achievements of participants visible. So here, I'd like to just summarize gamification mechanisms embedded in the game for knowledge sharing. We had a challenge to researchers, feedback, and also kind of a quiz. This is related to fun and enjoyment. We, of course, when we played, we found that they get excited to get true answer from me. So they, get more active participation in this kind of process. And also by feedback and performance graph, they could have self-efficacy and visibility of achievements. And by the feedback, we gave true to them so that they can get some repetition. And also by performance graph, they could have some signaling of competence, their competence that they did well. So these kinds of, mechanisms were embedded in the game. So this is a general explanation about the game. I'd like to just briefly explain about focus group discussion. We have many ways to have focus group discussion, but in this case, too easy to compare, we made this method to be similar to the game. So please again, imagine you are the participants. I ask you to remember 2011 flat and fill out practice card as I showed here to show what you did in 2011 flat. In this case, we didn't provide any 18 activities in advance because this is not game style. In the game, we had a kind of game, card game style. But in this case, it's not game at all. We try to remove all of the game elements so that we didn't have, we had a card. And others are the same. I ask you to put them cards on the map. And also we ask questions if you have. But we didn't show how many cards you provided. So I took in my personal memo how many cards you provided, but we didn't show it to them. So just did it, wrote on the cards here, show it on the map, and explain and answer questions if asked, and finished. Go to the next participant. And once all participants finished, we moved to the second phase during the flat, and finally went to the end of the flat. So there are the basic explanations of the games and focus group discussion. And we collected 10 participants from this community they have a sub-community in one community. So we asked sub-community leaders in 2011 to join. And also we had official community volunteers who are also residents who dealt with the 2011 flat. So we asked them to join together. But we didn't ask leaders to join because I think they have more power or more voice to say. I have to pay attention to one thing, that when we have these kind of activities, we have to always take care of power, or let's say politics, in the community. So we did card game because we ask you to write card first. If we didn't ask like this way, maybe who has more power or who has more voice speak first, and others just follow. Okay, yes, what he said is correct. Yes, like that. But we wanted to avoid this kind of situation so that we prepared cards. This is a strength of the card game, or there's a card style workshop. And this is the same as well. We avoided leaders to join. Then I'm in 2011 and the present community leader. We asked them to observe only and got some. We had some interview with them for the feedback on the methods. So based on this, I'd like to explain what we have found. Yes. So as I said, it's a bit, it's a bit academic. But let's say we had 3 indicators here. Grasping local context with it's local knowledge. Yes, we could collect many local knowledge. I'd like to explain here first result. Please ignore red and blue squares first. Here, you can see the 265. It means how many cards we could collect by the game. So we had 10 participants in total. We could collect 265 cards. And in case of focus group discussion, we collected 107 cards. But of course, some knowledge items are the same or similar contents. So we need to combine these kind of things. So that here, this is the knowledge contents. We focus on knowledge contents, not the number of cards, but also how many knowledge we could collect. In case of game, we could collect 87. While in focus group discussion, we collected 52. But it's no wonder because for the game, we prepared this one activity card first, so that it should be more because it helped them to remember. But I want you to focus on different things. Here we have some categories. They are the categories of local knowledge. We categorized based on the previous knowledge. For example, we had some card written that calling for insurance company. It is not what we want, in fact. It could be in many places, in fact. But to avoid to separate these kinds of tasks, we adapt some categories. And we focus on communication, value, and systems because they are behavior, but in communication are present who they cooperate together, work together, but they communicate together. It is locally embedded. In each local community, they have different, organizational structures, so that we could collect this kind of knowledge by doing this. And also value mean that it depends on communities on whom they prioritize. For example, well, in case of this city, kind of local city, so they also had livestock. So some people prioritize livestock. So this kind of value, who will be more important, who will be prioritized. This kind of knowledge are correct, separate here, and also systems is related to community systems, how they contact, for disaster training, or how they, manage the system, community, organization, and so on. This kind of knowledge are categorized into systems. So when we compare these points, first, you can see that, of course, beside game, they could collect more than, for this. But right, you focus on this one. This is the comparison between focus discussion and black card in the game. It means that this part only. We excluded these activities. Only focus on this black card, what they wrote, and also focus on the discussion parts they on which they wrote. And we found that still, sorry, it's a bit different, but sorry, it's still about skill and systems. In game, they could correct more, and also here about knowledge contents. There is less difference between them. In fact, in this case here, maybe I should exclude same knowledge as the ones in the other activity card divided, but here it's basically the same, similar knowledge, similar contents were produced here. So here, sorry, this table is not good. Sorry, I think I mistake to show it. But what we found is that here, especially blank card in the game, showing more knowledge of values. And sorry, we didn't exclude here, but if we exclude same knowledge from the game, we could collect it more kinds of values from the game. So that from here we could say that by the game we could collect more local context with local context by game more than the focus group discussion. So I cannot, maybe I don't explain much in detail, but here I'd like to say that especially this part we could collect more, and it was very important for this. Of course, this is also important, but as I explained, one of the goals to collect this kind of local knowledge is, of course, to integrate with scientific knowledge, but also we want to learn from them to other places, for other places, so that we have to find locally specific knowledge. So to identify locally specific knowledge, we reviewed papers, academic papers, but we couldn't find any ways, any framework to evaluate. So we had three ways, basically two ways. First, expert judgment. We asked experts on community-based disaster management in Thailand to evaluate each knowledge, whether they are locally specific compared to other communities in Thailand. And also, as a cross-check, we refer to the references like flood management guidelines and also previous studies on the community, on this community. And this is the result. We have 5 items of knowledge here. They are the one which all of three experts say that they are locally, really unique. Sorry, I forgot to explain about experts. We asked to three experts. One is governmental staff in charge of disaster management. Another is regional association staff, specifically Asia Disaster Preparedness Center. And finally, freelance working with local government, regional center, and also JICA as well. So all of three experts evaluated that these 5 knowledge items are really unique in this community. I highlighted some parts because they adopt community fund. So this is really important and really unique here. They collect money, and once happen, they distribute from the fund. It's helped after that situation. And we checked the guidelines for kind of manual issued in Thailand. And we found that all of them were not listed in guidelines, so that they are not typical ways in Thailand. And also we have checked previous studies of this community, because my colleague was engaged in the community for almost 10 years. So she knew well, she published papers. So we checked this paper and we found that, okay, 4 out of 5 were listed in this study. This study collected local based on long-term involvement, more than 4 years, for example. So that, of course, they would have more knowledge of this. The same, what we found is that one, career promotion, but this was collected even by long-term involvement. But M could collect knowledge. Of course, long-term involvement could collect deeper knowledge because they engaged in the community for a long time. At the same time, in this case, game could collect a variety of local knowledge. And we found that even the second, my colleague didn't know some knowledge, this one. We could found by the game. So that here, it is really important. And you can see the differences in color, because 2 of them were collected by both methodologies, focus group discussion and also games. But you can see the red one. They were collected only by the games. So that your community fund, they manage community fund in the community. We could collect by both methods. But in case of this one, career promotion, it is also from, could be from community fund. But after the flood, they had no job, no food. So in this case, community distributed seeds for crops in the pot that hanging on the wall because flooding affecting inability to plant on the ground. By doing so, they could, make it after the flood, the very serious situation. So we could collect this kind of, knowledge by the game, and some are from the focus group discussion. So there are the main 2 ways how to evaluate each method could collect local knowledge. And I like to highlight one more indicator. It is social learning. Briefly speaking, social learning has many meanings, but it's different from individual learning. Social learning means that they learn together by discussion, or they learn from other people. Other people are behaving something or take actions, they learn from them and so on. And it is really important for community-based disaster management. And also in the previous studies, they say that social learning enabler, meaning that how they cooperate each other, and how participants cooperate each other. It is very important to promote community-based disaster management. Because it is important because when we have a community-based disaster management, and also we want to integrate local knowledge with scientific knowledge, we, even local knowledge should cooperate together to find good knowledge or kind of unique knowledge in the community. So that we checked whether these 2 methods could promote social learning enabler, meaning that how they cooperate each other. So I would like you to remember that when researchers ask questions, participants were required to answer. At the same time, other participants also could, help them to answer or could add more in explanation. And here, this is a ratio of Q&A session and support session. Support session means that how many sessions can we see? We can see the cooperation between residents, between participants. And here, please look at the right-hand side. We found that, Q&A session is different. The number of Q&A sessions are different because in the focus group discussion, we asked more questions than group games. But we can see that support session and also its ratio. In a game, about more than 70% of the Q&A session was supported by other participants. Ask a sub participant, but other participants help or added more explanation. In case of focus group discussion, we could find only for 30%. And from our observation, we think that it is because of gamification. Because, as I explained, we gave this kind of feedback. They from the they get excited, and they try to cooperate, and it's a kind of challenge against me. So they try to tackle by so they started to cooperate. They try to add more information for me to more understand and also get satisfied. So by doing so, we could conclude that this difference happened between the game and also focus group discussion. So game could, of course, we included a kind of competitive mechanisms like performance graph. We show that how many knowledge and the number of knowledge were provided by each participant. But at the same time, in this game, we found that they could cooperate. We could promote cooperation among the participants. So from here, this is our kind of findings. So that we have a local knowledge here, and we compared between focus group discussion and there's a game here. And we found that, we could collect more local knowledge, which are already specific in this community, and also social learning enabler, meaning cooperation among participants, were generated more in the game. So these components are very important. So based on this one, we could go to the next process that try to integrate knowledge between local knowledge and scientific knowledge. But of course, before that, we have to have some processes here. But as the initial phase for the knowledge integration, I think game would be very important method. So this is a findings of the game. Conclusion is because I have explained. But when we apply the game, I'd like to emphasize its limitation, especially the number 4 here. As I explained in the first, we use game to disaster management. Basically, it's okay, but when we play the game in a disaster affected areas, it's a bit disturbable because maybe not maybe but some people see will suffer from damage, especially human loss. They might lose the important one. So in this case, can we try game to this kind of quality? Of course, we cannot apply just after the disasters, but even there's some years we apply it will be, I think we need to discuss or we have to think about more. In this community, in Thailand, they had more humans and they are proud of in present as a community. So we believe it is no problem. But if we want to try this kind of to other places, you can imagine that a bit sensitive. So that we have to be careful think what we can find. This is a very big limitation, not only the game, but also other games as well. So this is conclusion of the game. And I'd like to introduce another game, but this is really simple game, and I think it's easy to apply. If you want to apply, you can apply from tomorrow. flat management game for lessons. In fact, they are connected from the first game and the second game. Okay, let me explain about the game. So please imagine you are the participants. We assign roles to you. For example, mayor, community leader, community volunteer. In this case, kind of community organization member, let's say, who has some responsibility to take care of the village, the community, and also community member. So you are assigned one of them. And it's a game, so you have to have some objectives. So later I will explain about the scores, but to keep, for mayor, leader, and volunteer, to keep all players score more than 0. And in case of community member, to get more score than other community members. So it should be positive, numbers. So how can you get? I will explain. You live in this community. You can see that we have a river here. So you can easily imagine that this has some flat risk. So we play the first phase. Okay, now it's before the flood, before the rainy season. And you think that flood will come. Based on this role, please write what you think you would do, what you think you should do. We distribute paths. You can write one activity on one path, maximum 10 paths. And go to second. Okay, do the flood. I have no information here, but all areas get flooded. So what would you do? And after that, in the third phase, that is after the recovery process, what would you do? So in maximum, you can write 3 cards here. If you write 30 cards, you get 30 points. The number of cards you hold is the score. But after that, we had a brief explanation about what happened here. You can write what you want, you think you should do. And the order, I would say what happened in the community based on the situation. The community. Which I explained in game 1. So from the game 1, we practice some knowledge and we apply this knowledge to the game. So there are kind of we include some typical activities, but also included very specific activities in the community. So if they consider similar things as they can get, if they think you get minus point. For example, let's go here. Yeah, after the flood, we can get a kind of compensation from the government, but it's a very small amount of money. It's not enough. But community prepare some fund. Not only can provide some economic support. We are not only just here distribute these, also they do some more here. If you consider these kind of things, you cannot get, you don't get minus point. If you don't consider it minus point. So this is a kind of I can say process of the game. If you write card here, maximum 30 card here, you get 3 points. But we have evaluation for if you consider about compensation, not only from government, also other compensation community to be seen. If you do consider about it, you get -5. So that you get minus. By so what we can see that here we ask them to write a card. So this is similar to the first game, but doing so we found that we could collect their knowledge about. So we don't have to have such difficult things, make it game, but we could collect their knowledge, or we try to university students and we could protect their imagination. And by comparing results between university students and communities, we could find a gap between them so that we can have some, let's say, suggestions to the disaster education. Just I'd like to explain a bit about the result of this one. And I want to say that after that, we had a second round the same way. And this is a gamification mechanism inside the game. This is similar. And as I mentioned, we played this game not only to university students, but also community. This community is located next to the community of the game one. But this community was not presented as the safe communities by WHO, but experienced the similar, flood. But their activity is not different, and they are located not next to by, let's say next to by next, but between the community we have a big river, so that even though they are located near, but distance is not such near. So that what happened when we play this game is that, this is some pictures here. Found it that, okay, number of cards. University students here, let's say students here, they couldn't write so many. Community could write more because they have experience. And here we have a university students who received some lectures on community-based product management. They could write more cards than communities. But in terms of final score, meaning that we reduce, the points were reduced based on these evaluations, which point the score they consider. And finally, we got this result, meaning that community received the highest score in the end, and students with lecture. Then students received the lowest scores. So from here, we can say that this is a very simple game, but game style education, but we found that their knowledge can be reflected to the game results. Community show what they have done. And of course, they have similar experience with this another community. But of course, they didn't do the same things. But still, they consider what they should consider as victims, so that they could have higher score in the end compared to students. So from here, this is really simple, but still, we found that we could correct their knowledge, and also we validated their knowledge, the game, that the result could reflect their knowledge. And of course, second round, they could get better score, but this is just another story. And here, I'd like to just briefly explain about it. And as I said, from here, we can compare difference in their knowledge. By doing so, we can find gaps between them. Here, we focus on the who played, the leaders and volunteers, and we use the same, categorization knowledge. And here, you can see that here, green is the university students, and also red means university students, and blue is community. And we divided their knowledge, the class they provided by the categorization knowledge. We found that especially knowledge on systems, we have a big gap between university students and communities. So this you can imagine they have experience of that, so that they have knowledge of systems, but university students, they cannot come up with much of one compared to communities. So if we are by doing this game, we are still rising. We could find some difference between them, and we continue the analysis, and we could have some suggestions. So based on this one, usually games could be can be a learning tool for participants, but in our case, we play the game not only for them but also for us to get some information or knowledge from them, so that by game we could learn each other. So this is a big message from this, and we did tested these kind of things. Yeah. Okay, and it's almost time to finish, and it is still our project is still in progress. So I hope I can provide more result later on. But I'd like to finish my presentation here, and before that, of course, I'd like to thank to the host of this webinar, but also I'd like to say that these works were not only conducted by me, but also I have researcher working together. So that I'd like to just thank to my co-authors. Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation, and I think it's a bit academic way, I think, so that if you have any questions or comments, you are welcome. I'd like to answer as much as time allows. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful session. Now, I would like to invite our panel members and the participants to please ask their questions. and you can write your queries in the Q&A section, and panel members, you can directly ask or you can type in the chat box.
Yes, Dr. Paula, please.
First of all, thank you so much for this, let's say, overview of this game that, you know, I have some knowledge about it.
Yes,
As two of my master was as a researcher on the preparation of the paraphernalia of the game. And I congratulate with you on the results of the game and how you apply and split into different parts with the community, with the learners, I mean, the education. That is the most important one. But I would like to ask you, as this game was developed and played several times with several communities, and when it started, the game that you explained right now, I mean, the last one for education, was played at the beginning with the residents in the non-community. And now you are comparing residents, experts, learners, I mean, students. How much time, this is the first question, how much time did it require to you to run the game, and exactly how you frame the game within the activities?
Okay, thank you very much. Let's say this is still in progress, and I have to say that for the community, about game one, we played only one time. And this is a kind of social experiment. Yes, so that, yeah, we have to, you know, continue, but in other communities, but still we are finding, you know, others. So this is one-time experiment, but we like to continue if we can have some more areas. But still, we could find these results that I explained. And in terms of a second game, for the community, we played only one time. But to the students, we played, I don't remember. In this case, I showed three times, but in fact, we played more games. But with some, you know, we modified some games because by playing them, we have found that, okay, they feel something or we have to develop more. So that in this case, we compared the initial phase of our project. So that in this case, for the community one time, in case of university students, we had three, in this case, three times with the same rule. And I'd like to say that, okay, this is what I didn't explain about game one. Game continues 2 hours in total. About game one. In case of focus group discussion, it took about 1.5 hours. So basically it's, yeah, of course we have differences, but still it's similar, let's say. It's still, I mean, participants could still concentrate on. And in fact, this is from my observation. In the focus group discussion, in the middle, they couldn't concentrate, in fact, for 90 minutes. But in case of game, they're excited and they are getting into the game more, and they said, okay, time, no problem about it. If we had a class, no problem about it. And about game, second game, basically the game continued with the second one as well. The game continued about in total about 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Because we had a first and second round, and so we had a brief. Sorry about that. We had also the briefing gameplay, debriefing, because the focus was more research game, research tools. I explained debriefing, but we had also not much debriefing, so that it took about 2 hours or 2.5 hours. It's similar communication as well.
If I can add just a question, sorry, that is about the debriefing. We use those games to obtain, you said that you are trying to extract some knowledge in order to transfer this knowledge. So did you make already this process? Did you see any, improvement in your, let's say, communication or actions with the community after that? And if yes, could you give an example about the seeds and crops?
Okay, thank you very much. Listen, I have to say that we are doing, and we played second game in another community. Right? This is a kind of entry point for the community. We discussed with them, and we talked with them, and they have they accepted us to have more activities in the community. This kind of learning lesson from other community. So by doing so, they get motivated. We have evaluate. We don't have any evaluation yet, statistical or that kind of evaluation yet, but still, they accepted that we play, not play, we do about them. Like it's not about them, but just making or kind of some activities. So that I think this game could help them advance the activities more. And yeah, in our research project, we try to evaluate its effect. So we try to distribute questionnaires before and even after this game, but before our more involvement and after involvement, how they changed and how we could have interview with them, how our game changed their, motivation or like that. So unfortunately, this is our work for this year. And yes, unfortunately, this is still, just I introduced the initial phase of our research. So this is my answer.
Thank you very much, really clear. I congratulate anyhow, excellent work.
Thank you very much. Today my focus was, as I mentioned, we play the game not only for participants for learning, but also it could be a research tool for us to learn from them as well. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Is there any other question? Okay, I hope we have covered all the topics. So I want to thank Professor Yusuke. You have nicely introduced gaming into incorporating the gamification mechanism and game approach for extracting knowledge, local management, local knowledge and flood management. So thank you very much. And now I welcome Dr. Jigyasu Dubey, sir, coordinator of Center of Excellence in Simulation and Gaming at SWB, for the words of thanks.
Thank you. At the outset, our most sincere thanks to Dr. Yusuke Toyoda, Professor, Institute of Disaster Mitigation for Urban Cultural Heritage, Research and Development Institute of Regional Information, Japan, for accepting our invitation and for sparing his precious time out of his busy schedule. Dr. Yusuke had been traveling since last month and had very little time to prepare the webinar. We sincerely appreciate Dr. Yusuke's effort and cooperation. Thank you, Dr. Yusuke. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yes, if you have any questions later, you can contact me. You can find my email address at the internet. Yes.
Sure. We are also thankful to the International Simulation and Gaming Association, SAGA, for the collaboration and support in the organization of Pratiti 2023 Becoming Aware webinar series. And our special thanks to Dr. Upinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and Dr. Santosh Dhar, Rector and Dean of Shri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, for the guidance and motivation to continue this series. Our sincere thanks to the today's panelists, Dr. Elizabeth, Dr. Paula, Dr. Uttam Sharma, Dr. T.K. Mandal, Dr. Kavita Sharma, and other panelists who are present, and all the participants who make this webinar successful. I am also thankful to Professor Rupali Bhartiya and all the members of COESG and IT team of the university for their kind support. The next webinar of the series, which is the third one, is scheduled on 24th March 2023, same time, and resource person will be Dr. Ivo Wenzler, Professor of Serious Gaming at NHL Stenden University of Applied Sciences from the Netherlands. So hope to see all of you on 24th March. Thank you very much.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all the participants and the panel members, along with the resource person. And I request all the participants to please fill the feedback form as mentioned in the chat box. And we will be back with another interesting webinar on gaming in simulation. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.